What is up, guys? Welcome back to Between the Pylons. I'm John Camacho. Thank you so much for watching. And today we are talking about Justin Herbert. This is the fourth quarterback that I've done on this channel, and the last one. I am not doing another quarterback for this class. I feel like Justin Herbert rounds out the top four quarterbacks in no particular order. He's just the fourth guy that I did, and for me, I think he is the fourth best quarterback in this class. So that's just my personal opinions. I really like the player. He's absolutely a first-round quarterback. This is actually a pretty good quarterback class. I feel like not enough people are saying that, but it really is. I mean, we got four guys that I truly believe deserve to be in the first round, no doubt about it. Some of my issues with Justin Herbert really aren't his fault. I hated his offense. I absolutely hated his offense. So that was something that I really struggled with, even from the very first game of the season, the Alabama-Oregon game, which I was actually at. Me and a couple of friends, my girlfriend, we all packed up. We drove down to Dallas, went to the Dallas Stadium, and actually watched that game live, and it was a lot of fun. I was a huge proponent of Joe Burrow because I went into that season thinking that Joe Burrow was the number one quarterback. Now he's the number four. That's how quick things change just in one season. And what I really realized just watching that game, studying it after the fact, was, man, I hate that offense. I really do. And I will talk about that a little bit when we get to the film part. I'm not going to harp on it because that's not really the point. I still should be able to grade the player without the offense. I do think that if he was in an offense that maybe more suited his skill set, he might be higher because there were certain things that he could do that I really liked, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit more. And there were certain things that, I just didn't love from him that they kind of seemed to force him to do. Still a really good quarterback, still has a lot of potential in the NFL, but let's get right to it. Let me show you guys the skill chart for Justin Herbert. All right, so here we are with the skill chart here for Justin Herbert, and the first thing that I do think needs to get pointed out is his accuracy. There's definitely an issue there. He's not as accurate as I'd like him to be. The reason it's not as bad of a grade as maybe it could have been is because he is accurate sometimes. I feel like there's specific issues with his motion and with the way he tries to throw the ball sometimes that I'm going to show you guys when we get to the film. I'm not going to try and explain it now, but there is certain things that I do point to that I'm like, that right there is an issue. And it's fixable, so I'm not too worried about this particular aspect. Certain times, he overthrows a lot of people on deep balls, and that kind of gets into arm strength. He has a rocket for an arm, like an absolute rocket. And if you watch his arm, and I'll show you guys again when we get to the film part, but I mean, his arm is so elastic. He has such a good arm, and that's just natural, God-given talent that he has. But he has struggled to control it, at least from what I saw. He doesn't control his strength. He kind of overthrows a lot of receivers, especially deep. In the Auburn game, which I know I keep mentioning, it's just because I was there. I lived that moment. He overthrew, on the very final play of the game, he overthrew the goalpost. I mean, he threw it out of the end zone and didn't even give his guys a chance. And that's just one example of him maybe not controlling the power that he has in his right arm as well as he could. Now, all that to say, he still has a lot of arm talent. I would say a guy like Jordan Love, he can make all the throws, and he truly has just an unbelievable right arm. Justin Herbert is not there for me, but he is kind of that next step down as far as a very, very strong arm, very, very gifted athlete in general. And I did skip toughness here. That's a tough one to dissect. I didn't have any problem with it on film, although I didn't really see a lot of times where he just proved it either. He played behind a really good offensive line. He didn't have to a lot of the time, but I mean, this is a big, strong dude. I don't think this should hurt him too much. It just, there was not a lot to show, and there was not a lot to disprove, so I just gave it a very middle-of-the-road grade, but it is a positive grade in general. As far as elevates talent, I absolutely believe he does elevate talent. I believe he made his running back better, he made his receivers better, and he made his offensive line look really, really good because he was really, really good. So I had no issue with that as well. He does have some jets on him. I think he's the fastest quarterback of the four main guys in this class. I truly believe that. Again, none of these guys are just burners, so I didn't give any of them great grades there, but still good speed. Love his feel in the pocket. I really like his pocket presence in general. That is an elite grade for me. I think he did have it easy. So that should be mentioned. He had a really, really good offensive line. I would say he probably had a better offensive line than Tua played behind with Alabama. He had a really good offensive line. Two of them are probably going to be first-round picks next year. That's how good his offensive line was. But at the same time, when he was in trouble, I felt he handled it pretty well. There were certain issues, certain things that I'm going to show you that really, I don't know if you call it a negative. It's just an interesting thing that I've noticed. And again, I will get to that. As far as athleticism, he's incredibly athletic. He's a big, strong, physical dude. I have no issues with that as well. Good mobility. He didn't run a lot, and I really feel like that was a detriment to him. I feel like in the Pac-12 championship against Utah, he played really, really well, and he ran the ball really, really well. You could kind of tell that the coach, if the coach wasn't allowing him to run before, they started to now, or maybe he just realized this is kind of the final game of the season. This is the game that he has to lay it all on the line, and he did. So I'm not sure which is which. I hope that the coach just kind of reined him in and told him not to run, told him to throw it, which I would say is bad advice, but I like that as opposed to him just choosing not to. But that's just my 2 cents on it. I'm really not sure why he didn't run so much throughout his career. I feel like he could have utilized his legs a lot more, got himself out of a lot of bad situations. But again, we'll get to that. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself there. He had good field vision. I do like his physicality. I'm going to show you one play where he just runs over a linebacker. I love those kind of plays from a quarterback. His release, I do have an issue with. It's one of my big issues with him as a prospect. Very long, very drawn-out release to throw it to a running back that's 3-4 yards away. It's just strange. I don't want to say it's Tim Tebow-ish, because Tim Tebow just had a crazy release, but it is long. It's a little bit of an issue, and I'm kind of surprised that I haven't really heard anybody say anything about it, because it just jumps out on screen for me. He has a very elongated motion, and that does surprise me that I haven't really heard that as a knock, and I'm going to show you guys exactly what I mean a little bit later. And as far as football IQ, this is a 4.0 student. This is an incredibly bright kid. This is the kind of guy who, if he ends up on the wrong team, I actually mocked him to the Patriots in my last mock draft on the podcast. Go check that out. If he ends up on a team like that, man, the sky's the limit for this kid. That is an absolute fact. But all right, guys, let's get to the film portion of this video. All right, so here we are. The first thing that I feel like jumps out off the screen when you talk about Justin Herbert is his arm strength, right? And I titled this Arm Talent because I'm going to show you a couple different things. But really, I just want you to watch how fast this ball pops out of his arm, out of his hand. It is just absolutely ridiculous. Dude has a rocket for a right arm. Watch this, guys. He threw it too hard. The receiver couldn't catch it. NFL receivers will catch that. But, man, he just has an absolute rocket. And here you're going to see him throwing on the run. And why I show things like this is because he's off platform, and I just want to show just the natural talent. Granted, this is not an accurate throw. And, again, we're going to get to that. I do believe accuracy is an issue for Justin Herbert. But, man, does he have an arm. There is just no denying the fact that this dude has an absolute rocket for a right arm, and he does need to learn certain things, and we're going to get to that. But man, just appreciate the absolute heat that he is throwing. I wish that we got to see a little bit more from the combine with all the corona stuff going on. You don't get to see maybe all the things that you should be able to. I just can't get over it. It's like Justin. It's about one step under Jordan Love, and if you watched my Jordan Love video, you know how impressed I was with him. Again, he just throws an absolute rocket here. You can't beat that. That's unbeatable. So here we're going to talk about the throwing motion. I kind of teased this a little bit. Just watch the elongated throwing motion here, and I'm going to take it down to half speed just so you guys can get a good understanding of what I'm talking about. And just see. So it should be noted, he has an absolute, he doesn't have a slow release. He does have a fast release. His arm looks like a rubber band every time he throws it, which is a really, really good thing. And here I think you're going to get a little bit better of a view. Again, I'm going to show it at half speed here just so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. Very long, elongated motion, kind of just just a little bit of an issue for me. I don't think it's going to hurt him too bad in the long run. You see the greats throwing it at a kind of cocking their arms maybe half as much as Herbert here is cocking his arm. But that just is what it is. That's the way he throws the ball. I don't know if that's ever going to change. I don't know if it's ever going to be a huge issue in the NFL. But right there, why does he have to do that? It feels like that's a lot of wasted time. And granted, this is a good play. This, I believe, ends up being a touchdown or damn close to it. But if there's guys in your face or guys like this guy's a little bit faster maybe, I'd like to have those quarter of a seconds, those tenth of a seconds back in a perfect world. And again, this isn't a perfect world. I understand that. Great player, but this is an issue for me. I'm going to show you again. I think that's the best view probably of just what I mean by that. Very elongated motion. Not the end of the world again, but definitely something that should be noted when we talk about him. And I feel like it's one of those things where once I bring it up, I can't not see it. Once I noticed it on film, I just noticed it on every single play. And here, accuracy, it's definitely an issue. I feel like when he has a chance to sit back and go through his motion, he has an accurate ball. He throws an accurate ball. That's really not the issue. The problem is it's not consistent. And right here, you're going to see a very similar thing. He's not able to step into it as much because he has a guy kind of in his face, and I think that hurt him. You can tell, I want to bring it back just a little bit here. You can tell that he doesn't step towards the throw, which is kind of an issue for me, if that makes sense. He's throwing to the right here. He's throwing to this 50-yard line right here, but he steps like he's throwing over the middle. That's how he stepped, and it's because he had pressure in his face, so he kind of had to rush it, and you could tell it was a little bit inaccurate. What he tries to do is he tries to throw with just his arm. And right here you're going to see really good pump fake. I actually love that from the player, and kind of gets his guy open. But then he kind of airmails what could have been a really good play, because watch this play out. Incredibly smart play by the quarterback, and again, we're going to let this finish through. Incredibly smart play by the quarterback. Right here, pump fakes, makes this corner jump the route. Of course, the wide receiver definitely helps. Gives his guy a second. Now he, for whatever reason, he's in a clean pocket, but he feels the need to kind of to move last second. And right here, he puts none of his lower body into this throw. This is all the arm. And a lot of times he gets away with it. So that should be noted. He gets away with this a lot. But when he tries to throw all arm here, and you're going to see, throws all arm off his back foot, just airmails it. He's not quite talented enough to do those things. We see Patrick Mahomes do it, so it is possible. But Patrick Mahomes is on a whole other level. That's not what he is. So again, this is kind of another thing. I keep bringing up Patrick Mahomes. I feel like there's a Patrick Mahomes effect, and if you played football with maybe a 6 or 7 year old outside and watched him yell Mahomes while he looks the wrong way to throw the football, you kind of understand the Patrick Mahomes effect. Just people trying to do more than they're physically able to do, and right here is kind of a big issue for me. For whatever reason, he has this tendency to drift back in the pocket. Well, that's what Patrick Mahomes does. He drifts, and then throws a rocket 35, 40 yards downfield for a 20-yard gain because he's already backed up so far in the pocket. It works for him, and he's incredibly talented, and he shows it every time he does it. It doesn't quite work as well for me with Justin Herbert. Again, you're going to see him drifting, tries to throw it all arm, and this is a kind of a bad example. It's an example of him drifting back, absolutely, but it's a bad example because you see two guys. He didn't have any other option but to go as far back as he could and throw a bad ball off his left foot. You know, I don't have a huge issue with that. That can be coached out of him. He should know to not throw that anywhere near the end zone. Throw that out of bounds. Don't take the sack and call it a day. Go to the next play here. Plays like this aren't quite as forgivable for me. He had a second. He could have stood in the pocket and made that throw. He drifts back, throws again off his back foot. It's a consistent issue. You see it enough where he just drifts. And right here is a successful play. Again, it works sometimes. He is incredibly talented. Things like that are going to work sometimes. It's not consistent enough for me to be okay with him doing that every time. It's just not. And here you're going to see pretty much the exact same play. And again, it does work. Has a little bit of pressure, just kind of drifts back in the pocket and throws it. if that's what he does every time when he's throwing to the running back, that's fine. But if he starts trying to throw 15, 20-yard passes over the middle, he's going to have a bad time in the NFL. That's not going to be good. Here we're going to show him throwing under pressure. Actually, you kind of already saw it because a lot of those plays in the last section were under pressure. But here I'm kind of trying to show a different thing where he does take the hit and throw the football, and man, is it successful. This is a big, strong, physical dude. This is the type of guy who really belongs on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like, he could play behind Ben Roethlisberger for a year and then take that mantle and pretty much be the same guy. The problem is the Pittsburgh Steelers already traded their first-round pick, and there's no way this guy falls to them in the second round or even close to them in the second round. So that's not going to happen. But you see just the physicality, the toughness to sit in there, take the hit, and keep rolling. I want to show this again. Watch him just get absolutely blown up. Actually, I went a little bit too far back. Watch him here get absolutely blown up by the blitz and still throw a really accurate ball over the middle. That was incredibly impressive, and that's part of his arm talent. Rifles that ball in there under pressure. I just love showing this because, I mean, it is impressive. It's one of my favorite things about him. I was at this game, and, I mean, my jaw dropped when he threw this ball. It was kind of a lucky catch. I feel the tight end did bail him out. But, man, you have, who is that, Marlon Davidson or Derek Brown, one of those big two D tackles from Auburn, just absolutely crushes him. The ball is right here. The ball is leaving his arm when this happens, and he's able to get it that far. I mean, just incredible, great touchdown throw. And I'm going to show you guys one more here where he just gets absolutely lit up and throws an accurate pass to the receiver over the middle again. Love him under pressure. I love when he stands in the pocket and just throws the ball. When he starts to try and drift back and try and avoid the pressure, he gets himself into trouble, and it's unnecessary. So hopefully he goes to a coach that can coach that out of him. I do think that's a fixable problem. Pocket presence, again, I really like him in the pocket when he decides to stay in it. Right here, very good. Kind of gets away from him, but there was really nowhere to throw that. I didn't have a problem with him throwing that high into the outside. That's really like the only place that his quarterback could have, or his receiver could have possibly gotten that ball. And yes, it was a little bit too far, but just see him handle the pressure. What I would like to see is for him to take off, because I know he's faster than this guy right here, this lineman, and see all this open space. I would have loved to have seen that. I would have loved to have seen more of that in general. But he just didn't. He threw the ball maybe more than he probably should have, and I don't think I've ever said that about a college quarterback. But he did. There's certain times I'd love for him to just say, hey, I got some legs, I have some athleticism, let me pull this ball and just go. Right here, you're going to see him throw. The defensive end does get just a little piece of this. I don't really have a problem with this. I just love seeing him kind of shuffle up in front and still able to get that ball off. Yes, it gets tipped, but that's really not the point. Just watch him climb the pocket. That's what I want you to see here. Climb the pocket, make a throw. Not accurate. I understand that, but that really wasn't the point for this particular part. Here you're going to see him climb the pocket, adjust, try and make a throw. Again, he has an issue with accuracy when he is not fully planted. So here you're going to see he kind of throws it off his foot. He tries to use his arm as an independent contractor, and it just doesn't work. He tries to use only arm, and when he does that, he hurts himself and he hurts his team. I do have an issue with that, and that does need to be coached out of him. But again, he got away with it there. I say that, but he gets away with it probably as much as he doesn't get away with it, which isn't good, because if you do that, if you only get away with it 50% of the time, you're probably not being successful. But I mean, right there, you can see guys all over him, gets the ball off. You know, I could absolutely put together enough clips to show you and make you think that he does it every single time, because he absolutely does it a lot. I can put together a lot of clips where he doesn't get away with it as well. All right, so here we are throwing on the run. There's certain issues with me. The thing that I've noticed more than anything is I feel like it's very circumstantial. Sometimes it's pretty good. I feel like when he gets a chance to set his feet and throw it, he's very, very good. When he throws it like this, it's kind of an issue. That was somewhat accurate, but the ball was all over the place. He didn't get a chance to throw that cleanly. In general, really the main issue is when he's rolling out to his left, he doesn't find as much success as he does when he's rolling out to his right. Watch these plays right here. he gets a chance to kind of put the weight on his right leg and get an accurate ball. Again, rolling out to his right, very accurate down the field pass into kind of tight coverage. That was a beautiful throw, and he does it a lot when he's on the right side of the field. On the left side, he has a little bit of a more issue. Now, that's not 100% fact, but it is consistent enough for me that I can say it's a trend for sure. And here I want to show you, I've kind of already talked about it a little bit. I want to see him run more, and in this Utah game, he did. When he's in the Pac-12 championship, it's nut up or shut up time, and he absolutely shows up and ends up winning the game for his team. And he did that a lot with his legs. I mean, he just wasn't afraid to get there, and he always falls forward, always takes the contact. I mean, this was the Super Bowl for him. This is a guy who's a homegrown Oregon fan from birth. You know, he loved this city. He's only ever lived in this city, and that's well documented, I feel like, if you follow the draft at all. So what you see from this game is him putting it all on the line. I would like to have seen that in every single game. I don't know. Again, I don't know if that was coached out of him or if this was a conscious choice by him. There's no way for me to know either way. But just watch his physicality and his runs. Just run over that linebacker. Gotta love that. Maybe that's a safety. I'm not sure. And here again, you're gonna see him. This is in the Alabama game. Just puts it all on the line and gets it there. His legs are an absolute weapon, and he needs to use them more. So here I'm going to show you decision making. The first thing I want to show you is what I would have liked to have seen more. I would have liked him see, okay, nobody's open, my first read isn't there, I'm going to tuck it and run. And he does, and yes, he only gets, okay, he actually fumbles the ball, and I understand that's not good. He kind of gets pancaked. He only gets a couple yards. I would have liked to have seen it more. I feel like if he would have done it more, I probably would have had a better clip to show you than the one where he fumbles and his lineman has to bail him out. That really wasn't the point of the clip. The point was just the decision-making to see, hey, nobody's open. I have some legs, let me run. In the NFL, you have to be able to do that at the quarterback position, especially in today's NFL. The years of having a guy that stands in the pocket and either throws it to his man or throws it away are over. You got to have a guy that can make some moves with his leg, and that's just an absolute fact in today's NFL. So here we are. He is a one-read guy. This is his only read. Guy's not open, and he throws it high and outside, and I like to think that was on purpose to avoid throwing an interception because he's not a huge interception thrower. But I will say, I do think this is the offense more than him. I don't think he was ever coached to go to his second, third, and fourth read. I think he was coached to see one read, and if it's even remotely there, toss it. I had an issue with this offense altogether, and this is really where it came out because I questioned the decision-making at times. I didn't understand this throw specifically. He does throw an interception. I'm going to show you guys again. We're going to get helped by the broadcast. I don't know what he saw. This ends up being kind of a post route. I don't know if the receiver is supposed to run straight up, because if he runs straight up and he goes right here, Justin Herbert probably has enough room to make a throw, but instead it's kind of a post route, and he just kind of underthrows it a little bit, and the corner is able to take off with it. But here's the thing: where was the opening? This is single high coverage. This guy being right here means this part of the field is covered. So why would you throw it right into this part of the field? I mean, that's exactly where the guy was. So what he tries to do is kind of split the difference and put it into a tiny little window between the corner and the safety, and that's a real small window. That is a real small window, especially at the NFL level. Here he's playing, Colorado, whoever he's playing, I don't even know. But still, man, that's a tough throw, and he does not get it off. Again, that's going to happen with college guys. I don't have a huge issue with it, but it's definitely something that should be brought up. That, by the way, is the only interception that I saw in the 3 or 4 games that I watched for him. And here, you're going to see, it could have been more. Could have been more interceptions. Don't understand that throw again. 2nd and 10, there's no need to make that throw versus anywhere else. I just don't get it. He was never opened. He was absolutely not ever open. So decision making is definitely a question for me. I do think that it's more of an issue with the offense, with the fact that he really rarely got off his first or second read. I don't know if that's him not being able to process fast enough. I don't think that's the issue. This is a very bright guy, but there is a difference between being book smart and being on the NFL, making a decision every 3.5 seconds smart. That there's just two very different things. And this right here, right, as we move on, is tough throws. And really what this should have been called is throwing to guys that are not open, because he did it a lot and he got away with it a lot. Again, I'm showing you maybe negatives, but every negative that I have for him, I can show you 10, 15, 20 plays where he successfully got away with it. So there's definitely room for concern, but man, he does have a lot of talent. Man, he gets away with this a lot. Like that right there, that should have never gone to him, right? Again, why are you throwing it to the guy that's completely covered? And granted, they're playing Auburn. Auburn had a really good defense this year. Everyone's covered. And right here, take off right now. The running back will block for you, get an extra 5-10 yards. Don't throw this impossible throw. But he gets away with it, and it's a successful throw. Here, he's not quite as lucky. Doesn't get away with it here. And that's just a bounce-up ball that could have easily... Just look at this one more time. These are the kind of things that scare me more than anything. Seeing a guy get away with a throw that could have easily bounced any other way. So this is a really tough throw to a covered man, and this ball just bounces up, and man, it bounces this way and falls to the ground, no problem at all. You punt it away, move on with the game. But man, if it bounces right here, it bounces to the other side, it's just a coin flip on where the ball goes. It goes to the safety, and this safety has a running start for the end zone. I'm not saying he definitely would have gotten there, but it would have been a very harsh change in field position. And that's the kind of thing that's a difference in this game. And here I'm going to show you maybe my biggest issue with Justin Herbert. He easily has the worst deep ball of the top 4 quarterbacks in this class. And that's not saying a whole lot, because, I mean, we're talking about 3 guys in Tua, Love, and Burrow that all have incredible deep ball accuracy, just absolutely amazing. And this guy is kind of 40-60, I would say, as far as success rate, 40% successful, 60% not successful. It's probably worse than that, actually. But, man, it's an issue at times. And, again, that's a beautiful throw, and that worked out really well. Again, it's not all bad. I never want to show something that's all bad. Again, good throw. This guy was kind of open, so I'm not incredibly impressed with this, but there's a lot of bad here too. I do like to show, especially when I have things that are an issue, I like to show that you can do it too. This guy's probably even more open than the last play. He just airmails it. More often than not, it's an overthrow, not an underthrow. Here, man, I don't know what the plan was there. Maybe that was a post route. Maybe that's on the receiver. It's very, very possible. And a lot of these plays, like that last play, maybe the receiver was getting held. I didn't see it, so I don't know. But there's definitely an issue there. He misses a lot. And certain times he misses by 5-10 yards there. That's what, a 5-7 yard miss. And he has no excuse. And when I say no excuse, I mean he has absolutely no excuse to miss that bad. And granted, it's a long throw, all those things. I couldn't make that throw. I'm not comparing him to myself. I'm comparing him to other NFL quarterbacks. But a beautiful pocket. He has nobody around him for a mile, and he's able to get that throw. He has time. There's no reason that he can't get an accurate throw to a guy who maybe wasn't in the perfect position to catch that ball. This corner here was kind of on his tail, but you made the decision to throw it. I got to think you saw something to say that it was open, so either that's poor decision making or just terrible ball placement. Either way, I'd like to see you get a little bit closer to the guy. You had time in the pocket. There was no reason you had to rush that throw. Things like that are kind of an issue for me. But guys, all in all, we're talking about a guy who has so much potential. I mean, absolutely so much potential. I've said it probably with every single guy that I've talked about. If we're looking back 5 years from now and Justin Herbert's the best quarterback out of this class, I'm not going to be surprised. I've shown you on film everything that you want from an NFL franchise quarterback. He has it all. There's certain issues, there are certain inconsistencies, absolutely. He is not a perfect prospect by any means, but there is a lot to love about this guy, and I have absolutely no issue with certain people saying he's the 3rd or 2nd best quarterback in this class. I don't have an issue with it all. For me, he's still the 4th. For me, he's really close to Tua. He's just a little bit behind Tua. So if you're sitting there deciding between Tua and Herbert, and you do think maybe Tua's just a little bit better, I don't think he's so much better that the injury concern just has to be dealt with because he's so much better than Herbert. I do think it's close, and I might be in the minority there. But Herbert, I feel like I showed you on film all the things that you have to love about him. And I feel like if he would have been in a better system, if he would have been in a situation where he could succeed a little bit more, man, it might not even be a conversation right now. He could have been on an offense where we're not even talking about, oh, who's the best. No, we saw Herbert kill it every single week, and he's obviously the best. But that wasn't the case. I feel like he was on an offense that really did him no favors at all. So that just is what it is. That happens a lot with guys, and I feel like maybe the biggest reason we miss on players, because we don't get to see what they can probably do in the best circumstances. It just happens. So for me, my final grade for him is a 6.37. Again, quarterbacks, it just doesn't matter that much for me. My grade does not accurately grade quarterbacks the way I want it to, and I've said that in other quarterback videos. I don't love my program or my system for grading quarterbacks yet. That's something that I'm really going to work on when we get into the offseason. I have a chance to really just get under the hood of this program and work out certain kinks. At the end of the day, I want you to focus on what I said about the film, what I said about his physical skills, and kind of leave the grade doesn't matter. That's still a very good grade in my program. He's a first-round pick by all means. So just take that with a grain of salt. It's not the biggest deal. But again, very good grade, very good player, absolutely a first-round pick. Well, all right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please give me a like and subscribe. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if there's anybody else you want me to do a draft profile on. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.